All right, so we are gonna start with we're gonna do a little mini unit on surface area and volume, and we're just gonna look at prisms, cylinders, and spheres. Okay, and you can think of a prism as what I've got shown here, a box. Okay, that's what a prism is. Um, but mathematically, we say a prism has two bases that are polygons. That could be triangles, squares, rectangles, parallelogram, trapezoid, whatever, all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, between the two bases, like you have a base here and then a base up top, and then between connecting them are the sides. Okay? Um, Cylinders are the cousins of prisms, except cylinders have circle bases. So you can think of a cylinder as a soup can, or a trash can, or a cylindrical trash can, or something like that. Then, of course, we have spheres, which are all on their own. That'd be like a basketball or a baseball or something round. Okay, usually a ball. And we're going to look at surface area. So the concept of surface area is all the area that's on the outside of the figure. So all the way around. Okay. Like if you were going to wrap a box for Christmas, how much wrapping paper would you need? That's a surface area application. Okay. We'll look at volume later, and that's actually where you fill it up, like you're pouring water into something. But we're not doing that yet. We're doing surface area. And so a lot of times when people teach this, they just give you the formulas, and I might give you a formula later, but I like to approach this in how do I say it? I don't want to give it a formula. I want to go like section by section. What I mean by that is on our prisms, which are just going to do rectangular prisms or cubes, there's three distinct sets of sides or faces, as they're called. And it's usually the three that you can easily see. Okay? So, like, I would label this one over here, I call it the side. So that would be the rectangle that's 5 by 5, so that's technically a square. And then we know that if you go across and on the back side here that I'm tracing with my pencil, okay, those two are going to be the same, okay? Then you've got one here that I would call the front because it's in front. That's a 7 by 5. Okay, and then you've got one that would be, if you've got a front, then you've got a back. So in the back is another 7 by 5. And then I would call this one the bottom because it's on the bottom. We know it's 5 this way, and because of the properties of rectangles, we know that this one is going to be 7, which makes this one 7. So this bottom is a 5 by 7. And then if we have a bottom, we have a top. And so the top is 5 by 7. Okay? And so that's what I label as. We have the front, we have the side, and then we have the bottom. Okay? And to me, this avoids you having to remember formulas and all that stuff. Okay? So all we do is find the area for each of these, and then we'll go from there. So our front, I'm going to label the front as this 7 by 5. Actually, let me do this. Do some color. So I'm going to outline my front in purple. Okay, so I want to find the area of that rectangle. That's going to be 5 times 7 because it's a rectangle, length times width, and that's going to be 35. Okay? And then, now remember, if you have a front, then you have a back, and it's going to have the exact same area. So all we're going to do is we're going to double the 35. We're going to multiply it by 2. So, and you do just get in the habit of that. You find one of them's area, and then you double it 2 times the area you just found. Okay, so that's going to be the area of our front and the back. Our side, I'm going to label here, outline here in black. So the side here is actually a square because it's a 5 by 5. So we'll just do 5 times 5, which we know is 25. And then automatically take that number and multiply it by 2. So this side and the one on the far edge of this thing that you hardly can't see or hear is 25 also, so they're both 50. And then we have our bottom that we have to do. So I'm going to do my bottom in light blue. That is another 5 by 7. So 5 times 7 equals 35. And then automatically double it. Now, for a surface area, all these underlined areas you have to add together. So surface area is going to be 70 plus 50 plus another 70. So that's going to equal 190 when you add all that together. And because it's area still, we're going to do centimeters squared. Okay, not cubed because we're still area. So 190 centimeters squared. And that's really the process for prisms. You do a front, a side, or a bottom. Now, you don't have to necessarily label it like I do. It's all on what you can see. Okay? Sometimes I can't see the bottom. I might be able to see the top, and so I change that to top. These two will probably stay the same, but this one you can change between top and bottom. Just whatever you can see easily. Okay, so let's go down here. And also notice my front and my bottom were technically the same shape. They're both a rectangle. That's a 5 by 7. And I ended up with two areas of this, so technically 4 areas that are the same. That's all right. That can happen. So don't worry about that if you get some that match. And in fact, for your cubes, all 6 will match because everybody's a square on a cube. Okay. So I'm going to color code first. This 12 by 7, that's the first one I see. I usually go with the first one I see. So I'm going to let that be the front. For me, the front is the one I see first. So we're going to do the front. Then we're going to do the side over here in black. So I've got my side. And then now I don't see the bottom, I see the top. So I'm going to go with the top. My outlining skills are not that great. Okay. The front in purple is a 12 by 7. So 7 times 12 is 84. And then double 84, multiply by 2, you get 168. So keep track of that number. Our side in black is a 12 by 4, technically, because you can bring this forward down here and down here. So we're going to do 4 times 12, which is 48. And then double 48, we get 96. And we keep track of it. Our top is a 4 by 7. So 4 times 7, 28. And then we multiply 28 by 2. We have 56. So all of these now will add together for surface area. So surface area 168 plus 96 plus 56, and you add all that together, it's 320, and this would be yards squared. Alrighty then. So we'll continue, same process. Front, side, top, or bottom. You just find all the areas, add them all together. The surface area for a prism is really easy if you just follow this process. Alright, so I'm going to do my front, which is the one I see right here, literally in front. My side over here. And then I have a top again, not a bottom, I have a top. So the front is a 4x4. It's actually a square. So 4 times 4 is 16. You double 16 and you get 32. The side is a 4x3 because you can transfer the 3 over. So 3 times 4, 12. And then you double 12, multiply by 2, get 24. Our top now is another 3x4. Oops. Okay, and then surface area, we add all those together. 32 plus 24 plus 24. You add all that together and you get 80 feet squared. Okay, and that's prisms, or you could call them boxes. That's how you do surface area for a box. Really easy if you follow this 3-step process. Do your fronts, do your sides, and then do top, bottom. You can label it top or bottom, whatever you can see. Okay, now we're going to go on to cylinder. So again, a cylinder is sort of like the cousin to a prism, except a cylinder has circles on it. And so anytime we deal with circles, it gets a little strange because they have to use pi and all their formulas. So here's how we do cylinders. So we're going to do the top and the bottom together because that's where the circles are and that's where we start. Okay, so now you're doing the area of a circle. Area of a circle is radius squared times pi. Radius squared pi. So make sure you have the radius. Our radius here is 3. So 3 squared pi, which is 9 pi. And as a decimal, that is 28.27. So all of our problems today, we're going to round to the 100. We're going to go to 2 decimal places, okay? So 28.27 is the area. That's just one of the circles. But how many circle bases do we have? We have a top and a bottom. So again, like we did earlier, I'm going to take that number and multiply it by 2. That's 56.54. And keep track of that. Okay, and now we got to do our sides. And by sides, I mean going around the cylinder. Okay, and notice I said going around the cylinder. If you unwrapped the cylinder, it would look something like this. I'm not a very good artist, but it looks something like that. We've already found the circles. Now we got to find this area. That'll be like the wrapper of your soup can. Well, this is a rectangle. So we know that the rectangle is length times width. Length times width. Well, the width, which would be this, is actually going to be the height that we have here. So for us, this is going to be the 11. And in general, that's going to be the height of your cylinder, how tall your cylinder is. Well, what is this going to be? What's the length? Well, think about it. If you wrapped it back up into the cylinder, this side of the rectangle would actually be around this. It's going to be around your circle. Around your circle is circumference, which is 2r pi. So we actually use a circumference formula in here to find the surface area. And you actually multiply those two together. So it's going to be 2r pi times the height of your cylinder. H here is going to be height of our cylinder. 2 times our radius of 3 pi times 11 of our height. All of that equals 66 pi, which as a decimal is 207.35. And we keep track of that. So remember, for the side of your cylinder, you have to use the circumference times the height. Okay? And then for the top and bottom, you use the area. And now for the total surface area, we're going to add those two together. 56.54 plus 207.35. Add all that together, it's 263.89 feet squared. There we go. So now the process is a little different. You do top and bottom and the sides, but they're all going to be about circles. So the top and bottom, you do the area of the circle, and then you double it. For the sides, you do the circumference of the circle times the height, and then you add the two together. Okay, so let me just show you two more. So we'll do top and bottom, which is where the circles are at. Our radius here is 11, so 11 squared pi. As a decimal, you just type that into your calculator. 380.13. But then there's two of those circles, so I'm going to multiply that area times 2. So I get 760.26. So the top area circle plus the bottom circle area is all that. Okay, now we do our sides. So the sides is the circumference. 2 times your radius of 11 pi times 7. 2 times the radius of pi, or times the radius, times pi, there's a times in there, times pi, times 7, the height of your cylinder. Okay, multiply all that together, 483.81, and then surface area, we add those two together, 760.26 plus 483.81 equals 1,244.07 square yards. That's a big cylinder. Okay? Top and bottom. Now, every time you approach a cylinder, read it carefully. Make sure you have what you need. You need the radius and the height of your cylinder. Well, look at this one. They gave you the diameter as 18 all the way across. You have to have the radius. So remember, to get radius, you just take 18 and divide it by 2. Okay, every time, make sure you have the radius. Now we're good to go. 9 squared pi as a decimal, 254.47, and then 2 times that amount equals 508.94, and we keep track of that. Now we do our sides. So 2 times your radius, or if you wanted to use the diameter 18 there, that's perfectly fine. Pi times our height, which is down there at the bottom, 6. Multiply that together, it's 339.29. So then for surface area, we add all those together. 508.94 plus 339.29. And you'll add all together, 848.19. This would be meters squared. Okay, that's your cylinders. So remember, for cylinders, go over the process again. You have to start with the top and the bottom, which is where you do the area of one circle, find its decimal form, and then double it, so you get the total areas. For the sides, you do the circumference of one of your circles times the height. Circumference times height, and get the decimal. And then you finally add those two together. Okay? So those are cylinders. And now for spheres. So spheres are a little bit strange. There's no, like earlier we had like a process we could work through to get the surface area. For a sphere, there's no way to do that. Like, you just have to know the formula. And so to do that, I'm going to give it to you. So surface area for a sphere is 4 times your radius squared pi. So it's kind of like the area formula, r squared pi, but then you multiply it by 4. All right, so for us here, we have a radius of 2. So 4 times 2 squared pi. You just multiply all that together. You should get 50.27. This would be yards squared. Again, we're rounding to the 100th place, 2 decimal places. All right, we have our radius here of 7. So 4 radius squared pi, 4 times 7 squared pi. Type all that in, 615.75 yards squared. Also, with your spheres, make sure you have the radius. If you don't have it, you need to find it. Like on this second example I have here, I gave you the diameter of your sphere. It goes all the way across. You need half of it, so just divide that in half. So your radius is going to be 9, and then you do your surface area. That'd be 4 times 9 squared pi as a decimal, 1017.88 centimeters squared. And that's it. That's all the surface area we're going to do. So I know this video is a little bit longer, but I wanted you to I wanted you to do it all at once. So you've got the process for prisms, you've got the process for cylinders, and you've got your formula for a sphere. So make sure you understand how to do all of this, and you can complete your assignment. And as always, if you need help, just